name's Kyle Parker. I'm Policy Advisor here at the Helsinki Commission. And on behalf of our Chairman, Senator Ben Cardin, I'd like to welcome you all to today's briefing on the recent elections in Moldova. We have quite a panel here, a couple people who've joined us from Moldova. I'd like to particularly recognize Vlad Spino and the Moldova Foundation for helping us to put this briefing together. Just so everybody knows, a briefing, the format we'll use today will be rather informal. Many of us know each other, and hopefully we can have a conversation. I've asked the speakers to try to limit their remarks to 7 to 10 minutes, which, if we stick to schedule, will give us more than enough time for a lively question and answer and discussion period following. So please, when you're listening to the presentations, please be jotting down your questions and be ready, because we'd like to have that interaction. Today's proceedings are being transcribed. They will go up on our website as soon as possible. Probably later today we'll be able to have the links up, and the presentation will be printed and become an official government record, just like a hearing would be. Let me see here. I think we will start with Mr. Galbor from the Embassy of Moldova. And just a few words. The Commission has had quite a history in this part of the world, and particularly focusing on Moldova has really, been able to be a leader in these issues and really engage with the OSCE. We really are sort of the institutional memory for the U.S. government on the OSCE process, and work closely with the Department of State and our colleagues in Vienna. In fact, one of our staffers who's joined us today is permanently attached to the mission in Vienna, Winston Packer. I was an observer at the April elections. Unfortunately, was not able to make it out this past week. But so I think with that, we'll go ahead and get started. And Scal, would you like to share your views?
Sure. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset I would like to thank the Helsinki Commission for inviting the Embassy to speak today about the recent parliamentary election in my country, and also for the interest, for the constant interest that the Commission has shown in Moldova. I would also like to extend on behalf of the Embassy a warm welcome to our distinguished guests from Moldova. As you all know, early parliamentary elections have taken place on July 29th of this year. The elections had a turnout of almost 1.6 million voters, or 58.8% of those registered to vote, which have clearly expressed their political choice, reflected in the party composition of the new legislative body. The elections were observed by around 3,000 international and local observers. The International Election Observation Mission, consisting of delegations from the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly, OSCE Office of Democratic Institution and Human Rights, also known as ODIHR, Council of Europe's Parliamentary Assembly, and the European Parliament, has evaluated the elections positively on the whole. Although most of the OSCE and Council of Europe criteria for free and fair elections were respected, the observers have signaled a number of shortcomings which need to be addressed in the context of enhancing the electoral process in Moldova and developing the democratic institutions of the country. The vast majority of shortcomings mentioned by the international observers deal with the process of registration of electoral lists and the overall tense climate of the electoral campaign. Recommendations in this regard consisting in the need to establish a state electoral registry in order to improve the quality of electoral lists, as well as to implement the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe resolution adopted after the events that followed the April 5th, 2009 elections. The recommendations also include advice on modernizing the electoral process by introducing electronic voting. Similar conclusions have been voiced by senior European officials, such as Javier Solana and Benita Ferrero-Waldner, also positive statements on behalf of German Foreign Minister Walter Steinmeier, who all stated that Moldovan elections of July 29 have met most of the international electoral standards. The EU commissioners encouraged Moldovan political parties to elect a new president and form a new governing coalition in the context of an overall constructive dialogue. The EU has also reiterated its availability to continue offering political and economic assistance to Moldova's efforts in implementing democratic reforms. The significance of these elections for the Republic of Moldova can hardly be overestimated. First of all, they have underscored yet again my country's dedication to liberty, democracy, and modernization, which will enable Moldova to continue to face the challenges inherent to the period of transition to democracy and market economy. Secondly, they have confirmed that there is no alternative for democratic development and European integration of Moldova. Regardless of the makeup of the new parliament and government, the European integration will remain at the core of my country's domestic and foreign agenda. There is a largely shared opinion in my country that the new central authorities that the parliament must soon elect will continue to struggle for economic and social stability, good governance, political development, and territorial integrity of Moldova. In achieving the mentioned undertakings, the support of the international community, including that of the United States, remains crucial. The considerable financial, political, technical, and humanitarian support that the United States has been offering to my country since its independence contributes in the most efficient way to Moldova's democratic stabilization. At this very important historic moment, when the Moldovan society solidifies its choice to return to the European and civilized way of development, the people of the Republic of Moldova is profoundly grateful for the vital and efficient partnership between our two countries. Whatever hope we may derive from the progress of recent years and the prospect of a democratic consolidation, the future of Moldova will depend, among other things, on the continuation of this partnership. I thank you very much for your attention, and I welcome any questions that you may have.